Rams found their master plan this week against the Panthers, what the Rams need to do to succeed this Saturday during Wild Card weekend, as well as some key facts and stats to know heading into this Wild Card matchup, as well as some injury updates after today's practice. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. Before we get into all the news today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. When you use the link down below to download Kalshi and enter code DIGESTNFL, you'll get $20 when you trade your first 100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the US, and on their platform you can trade yes or no on real live events including sports, elections, news, and so much more. And whether you're in California, Texas, or any other state, Kalshi is live in all 50. And for sports fans, you can trade on so many different things, like game odds, where the Rams are heavy favorites and I have them winning. You can also get point spreads and over-unders, where I have the Rams winning by under 10.5, but over 46.5 points will be scored, as well as player performance props, where I have Puka Nacua and Rico Dowdle both scoring touchdowns at any time in this upcoming game, as well as odds-on awards, where you already know you got my boy Matthew Stafford for MVP, as well as futures like who's going to play in the Super Bowl, where I have the Rams and Jaguars that you can cash out at any time on any of these odds, and it is on a fully regulated market. And for sports fans, this is a new and fun way to test your sports knowledge trading on Kalshi. And remember to go to the link down below in the description and use code DIGESTNFL, where you get $20 when you trade your first 100. Thank you so much again to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Now back to the news. Welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get it back into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 6K, 6,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that journey, make sure to hit that sub button and click that notification bell and click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest content pieces for this playoff run, so you do not miss a beat. No more regular season content. And leave a like on this video right now for the playoffs getting started this weekend. Rams Panthers 1:30 p.m. Pacific time this Saturday, and leave a like as well for the stream coming up as well Saturday at 1:25. We got you for however many playoff games the Rams play. Hopefully it's all the way to the Super Bowl, resulting in a Super Bowl win. Leave a like on this video if you want the Rams to win this weekend and win the Super Bowl. And stay tuned as well for my playoff predictions coming later this week, so make sure to subscribe for that, as well as all the news in today's video. But we got to get into the Rams finding their master plan, and their offense actually had an all-time season. This story is from Rams Wire that we're going to get into right now. The LA Rams finished the 2025 regular season with the #1 scoring offense in the NFL. Sean McVay's squad averaged an NFL best 30.5 points per game, thanks in part to Matthew Stafford's MVP-level campaign. It helped, too, that Stafford led the NFL in passing touchdowns and yards. Puka Nacua led the NFL in receptions, and Davante Adams led the league in receiving touchdowns. The Rams weren't just prolific through the air, they were balanced on offense and secure when they possessed the football. Yeah, they were. Kyren got much better with his fumbling issue this year. It was a big issue last year. This year, early in the season it was, but for the last, it looks like 8 or 9 games around there, hasn't had any fumbling issues, so we like that heading into the postseason here. Davante being back is going to help the passing attack get back to where it's been. Now, this offense has been great this year. There were some games, the Texans game, not really going to blame it on them. The Texans have an elite defense, but in pretty much every other game besides the Texans game, you saw this offense putting up high-powered games, lots of points, lots of efficient offense throughout this entire season. And LA became the first team in NFL history to finish a single season with at least 4,500 net passing yards and 2,000 rushing yards and 15 or fewer turnovers per the team. The Rams' final tally was 4,577 passing yards, 2,152 rushing yards, and 15 turnovers. Yeah, that is just crazy. The 4,500 passing yards instead of the 4,700 is net yards, which takes sack yardage into account. So that's why that number is a bit lower there. But if we go through some stats here on the season, obviously the Rams had 598 passes and 465 rushing attempts, 43.7% rush, 56.25% pass plays. So they were a bit heavier on the passing this season in their offense. Not a crazy amount. Again, the Rams did average a nice amount of yards per carry this year. Kyren also getting more explosive. Speaking of Kyren on the year, 259 carries, 1,252 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4.8 average yards per carry. Puka, as we know, 129 catches, 1,715 yards, 10 touchdowns, 13.3 average. Should be way closer to JSN and Offensive Player of the Year odds on Kalshi if you wanted to trade that. Davante Adams, 60 catches, 789 yards, 14 touchdowns, led the league in receiving touchdowns, as I said, 13.1 average. Blake Corum, 145 carries, 746 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5.1 average yards per carry. And if you look at kind of like the entire team, as a whole, like the whole season, the team as a whole has so many different players that have good seasons overall. If we look at the Rams' overall team stats here, obviously Colby Parkinson has 400 yards, Xavier Smith has 300, Kyren, Tyler Higbee, Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen all have over 200, Winnington and Atwell have over 100. And looking at the rushing, outside of those two guys, not really too much there with Ronnie Rivers, Jarquez Hunter not really getting the playing time that we kind of thought he would, but just having these two guys alone in the backfield has allowed for this Rams offense to be so much more dynamic and balanced throughout this season, and it's really led to a lot of positive outcomes for this team. This is an impressive feat for any team, but even more so considering Stafford is 37 years old and going into his 17th season. Despite all the success on offense, the Rams couldn't lock up the number 1 seed in the division or the NFC. Instead, LA will travel to Charlotte to face the Carolina Panthers in the wildcard round. They'll bring their top flight offense though, and a now healthy Adams alongside Nacua. Yes, they will. That will be key. Davante having a huge impact on this team, hopefully heading into the postseason. He's been a full participant in practice. Has not had any setbacks yet, which is awesome to see. Now, comment down below right now your thoughts on this Rams offense and what it will do this postseason. I expect a bounce back game from the last time that we played the Panthers. I don't see Matthew Stafford throwing multiple interceptions this time, and I see the Rams offense being a bit more cohesive as a group overall heading into this game. But make sure to comment your thoughts down below. And now I have to get into our second story of the day, which is some key stats and facts to know heading into this interesting wildcard matchup, as there's a lot of interesting facts and stats that set some precedent for this game, as well as some stats about the Panthers that might be shocking to you all. And this story is also from Rams Wire that we're going to get into right now. And the first one is teams favored by 10 points in wildcard round are 12-1 all time. The Rams are double-digit favorites over the Panthers this weekend, making them the 14th team ever to be favored by 10-plus points in the wildcard round. In the previous 13 instances, the team favored by double digits is 12-1, including a 10-3 mark against the spread. For last time I looked, the Rams were 10.5 point favorites on Kalshi. My prediction was that they win by under 10.5 points, but they will still cover by them winning. So, yeah, I do fully think that the Rams can win this game by over 10. However, I don't think that will happen, but I do think they will come out with the win. This is very interesting. I would have expected this to be a little bit closer. I'm sure some of these are due to some injuries, some key player or quarterback injuries, unfortunately, but I want to know, I didn't look this up, but if someone in the comments does have this, how many times a team favored by 10-plus points won when both starting quarterbacks were healthy? Because this is an instance where both starting quarterbacks are going to be healthy. Knock on wood, something doesn't change on that for both teams. But for now, they're both healthy, so it is going to be interesting to see. With the Panthers getting J.C. Horn back as well, that has been announced. He's going to be back for the playoffs too, so he's going to be a guy that Stafford's really got to look out for on that defensive end. He gave Brock Purdy a lot of trouble in their game against the Niners as well, so you got to look out for J.C. Horn out there if you are Matthew Stafford. And road teams with 4 more wins than the wildcard opponent don't have a great history. On the flip side, there have been 8 previous instances where the number 5 seed has at least 4 more wins than their opponent in the wildcard round. And in those games, the number 5 seed is only 2-6. One of those losses was by the 14-win Vikings last year, when they faced the Rams, who had just 10 wins as the NFC champions. Yeah, again, I don't really know why this happens. You could say, again, it's the home field advantage for some teams. I definitely think played effect. I mean, the Vikings, I thought were overachievers last year, and it ended up being that way with how they played against Detroit in a game for the 1 seed and how they played against the Rams last year in a divisional game as well. But I don't see the Rams being that wildcard team that just folds. I don't see it. Sean McVay is an experienced and good playoff coach. Matthew Stafford, good playoff player. The 1 game in Detroit, he's been a very good playoff player and is on near 10 playoff games now here in LA. So I don't really see this being too big of an issue, but I just found this a little bit interesting, and that's really why I wanted to include it. And this is the second ever playoff meeting between the Rams and Panthers. This is just the second time the Rams and Panthers have met in the playoffs. The first meeting was in the 2003 playoffs when the Panthers took down the Rams in St. Louis 29-23 in the divisional round and eventually lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Yeah, also this is also interesting. Again, Rams looking to get some revenge from around a little over 20 seasons ago in the playoffs. I know some of you in the comments talk about this game a lot. This is before my watching football days. I was a little kid at this time, so I was not watching football just yet. So I did not see this game. I will look up some highlights though before our stream, so I can have some nice banter with you all in the chat about this game. So the Rams getting a revenge game as well from stuff that has happened over 20 years ago. But hey, I am all for that. Hopefully this outcome will be different. And the Panthers have scored 10 or fewer points 5 times this season. The Panthers had 5 games this year where they scored 10 or fewer points. There were only 2 teams in the NFL with more such games, the Jets and Raiders, each with 7. Unsurprisingly, Carolina went 0-5 in those games. Yeah, I mean, this is why you wanted to play the Panthers. This is why Sean McVay played his starters, mainly because obviously they needed to after their bad performance against the end of the Seahawks game and against the Falcons, but you want to play the Panthers in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to pick on the Panthers. They've had a nice overall season. Like, you're no longer, at the bottom of your division year in, year out. Like, you're building something in Carolina. I think Dave Canales is a good coach, but for right now, you're not at the level of a Rams, a Seahawks, even the Eagles who are having a down offensive year. If you were playing the Bears, I'd give you more of a shot just because the Bears' defense isn't that great, or if you're playing the Packers, but I just don't see the Panthers doing anything right now. I don't think they're going to score fewer than 10 points. I think they will score more than 10 points, but overall, that is a shocking graphic to be next to the Jets and Raiders, 2 of the worst teams in football this year, and then you have the Panthers who sneak into the playoffs at 8-9, and by the way, that means when they score more than 10 points, that means that they are 8-4 on the year. So if you take out these 5 games, they actually are 8-4, and if they score more points in those games, they could have had an even better record. So if you're the Rams, you definitely want to hold the Panthers to under 10 points. You want to hold any team under 10 because you will most likely get the W in that matchup. And the Panthers are also 14-10 all-time versus the Rams. Since their first meeting in 1995, the Rams have not had a great track record against the Panthers. They're just 10-14 all-time against Carolina, dropping 3 of their last 5 games against them and 7 of their last 10. This is also just interesting heading into today. This is not something I would have expected. I know the Rams weren't great during the Cam Newton Panthers era. That's the Panthers era I remember the most. I love Cam Newton as much as everyone else. Like this video for Cam Newton mentioning, because I loved Cam Newton as a Panther, as we all did. But I've heard he may be back for the game to hit the keep pounding drum. That's pretty cool. That will get that Panthers crowd hyped. I will say that. But yeah, just an interesting little stat here that I don't think necessarily means the Rams lose or win because of this stat, but it's just something I thought to include because it all builds to the tension of the game that you want to improve your all-time record against a team that it's been a decent team throughout its time in the NFL. Obviously, the last 5 years specifically have not been good, but they've had some nice teams over their time. Times when the Rams weren't great, the Panthers were better, and then times when the Rams have been good, the Panthers haven't been great. But right now, Rams are good, Panthers are on the up and up, so this is the time to get that record back to closer to 500. And the Panthers have the 4th worst point differential of any playoff team in NFL history. The Panthers were outscored by 69 points this season and still managed to win the NFC South, all despite losing their last 2 games too. Their minus 69 point differential is the 4th worst of any playoff team in NFL history, with only the 2011 Broncos, 04 Rams, and 2010 Seahawks, having worse point differentials. For comparison, the Rams plus 172 point differential was the 2nd best in the NFL this season. Yeah, point differential is a big measure of dominance in sports. We talk about the Thunder of the 2024-5 NBA season, the one that just ended where they won the title, how dominant they were throughout that year, and they looked like the best team by far. And you look at the Rams, you look at a team like the Seahawks, like those 2 teams throughout the regular season have looked the best in terms of dominance. They've been able to dominate a lot of different games, whereas the Panthers being outscored by 69 throughout their season is not typical of a playoff team yet again. But the NFL has been so atypical this year that you never know what's going to happen. But I do believe the Rams obviously are going to come away with a victory here. So for the Rams, you just can't get those turnovers like you had last game. You can't. That's really what cost you in the last game. It cannot happen again. And the Rams led the NFL in points and yards this year, as we just mentioned. There wasn't a single offense that finished the season with better numbers than the Rams this season. LA scored a league-high 518 points and had the most yards, 6,709 in football, leading the NFL in both categories for the first time since their greatest show on turf era in 2001. Yeah, wow. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in chat on our stream specifically saying this offense, when it's humming, does remind them a lot of those 2000s, early 2000s teams, late 90s, greatest show on turf era. And I can understand that. I don't think it's the same play style, obviously, because the league has just changed so much as a whole. But yeah, when this offense is humming, it is impossible to stop. We've seen it like before Davante went down in the Seahawks game. That's what you're looking like. You're looking like first half against the Eagles. That's what you're looking like. Like those two performances specifically, or the whole entire Jaguars game, even without Puka Nacua when the offense was humming as well. Second matchup with the Niners. Just many different times that I can point to. Or against the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football, where the offense is just looking so unstoppable. And the Rams tend to run away with those games, for sure. And I think that can definitely happen here as well. And the Panthers have the second worst third down defense in the NFL. The Rams only faced 5 third downs against the Panthers in Week 13, converting 2 of them. Carolina's third down defense was the second worst in football this season, allowing opponents to convert 47.1% of the time. The Rams didn't have much trouble sustaining drives in Week 13, but turnovers were the story of that stunning loss. Yes, they were, I fully agree. And again, 5 third downs is not a huge sample size. That very well could happen again today if the Rams are just converting early. Not today, on Saturday. If the Rams are just converting early on their drives and don't have on each 4 down set, they don't really have to worry about third down. But again, this is defense that you don't have to really worry about third down. The second worst third down defense in the league, although Avero, their coordinator, was a former Rams assistant. We know Stafford tends to struggle against former Rams assistants. Maybe they figured something out, maybe not, but I do believe this Rams and this Mike LaFleur-led offense with Sean McVay is going to adjust well. Comment down below right now what stood out to you the most. To me, it was the point differential. I mean, that was something that I did not expect whatsoever. But real quick here before we end off, we got to go over some injury updates from practice today. I'm going to look down here so I read this properly. Kevin Dotson still not practicing today with his ankle injury. Jordan Whittington as well with his knee not practicing. Sean Dolak, unfortunately, is on IR. He will be out for the season. Terrence Ferguson with the hamstring. Still a DNP, which is a bit concerning. McVay thinks he'll be back, so I'd like to see him play at least a little bit tomorrow. Josh Wallace with the ankle was another dude did not play. That's big. He was really good replacing Lake. Quentin Lake being back is definitely going to help that, but that's still not great. Braden Fisk with his ankle injury is still limited. Tyler Higbee limited, but he's going to play with that ankle. Davante Adams is full. Quentin Lake is full, coming off of hamstring and elbow injuries, respectively. And Darius Williams was out for personal reasons, so I do hope everything is okay with Darius Williams on and off the field. Not only so that he could play to the best of his ability, but just so he can be the best version of himself as a whole. So hopefully the Rams can at least get one of those guys back. I do think Terrence Ferguson is going to play. It'd be nice if Dotson can play, so you're only missing Havenstein, so your O-line is what it was for those few weeks before Dotson got hurt. Comment down below right now what you think of the injuries as well, because I do think it's not really concerning. It is more concerning to me that Terrence Ferguson has not yet played this week. That's the most concerning one to me. But that is it for this episode of Rams Digest. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We're on the road to 6K, 6,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that journey, hit that sub button and click the notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content pieces covering all things Rams so you don't miss a beat this NFL postseason run here in 2026. Leave a like right now on this video for the Rams playoffs starting this coming Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. Leave a like as well for stream coming up Saturday 1:25 p.m. We're going to really try our best to be a bit early so we can have a bit of a pregame going as well. Talk about the playoffs as a whole for that one, so make sure to be there for that. Like this video as well for the Rams to win the Super Bowl and win this week. And like this video as well for Cam Newton mention. Comment down below your thoughts on the Rams offense and their master plan. I think it's just being balanced, play mistake-free football, and that is how they can not just win, but potentially even dominate this game. Comment down below your stat or fact that stood out to you the most for this game. To me, it's the Panthers' point differential. Very interesting to see that. And comment down below as well your thoughts on all the injuries. To me, Terrence Ferguson not playing yet at practice at all is a little bit scary to me, but I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.